Hi everyone, it's Mike here. So for some people, not knowing where to start on an art journal page can be a real stumbling block for creativity. There's nothing more intimidating than being faced with a white page. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to break 10 blank pages in under 10 minutes using just inks and stencils. So we'll begin by starting the clock. With 10 minutes and we're ready to go. So this is a brand new small dilutions journal, completely untouched, never been opened. So as you can see, I've already pre-selected half a dozen different colours of archival ink, and I've got my stencil folder open by my side, and I'm just grabbing random stencils from my collection, and I'm just going to add some of the ink through the stencils around the page. As I begin to build up the ink on the pages, you'll notice that I always apply my stencils or the ink through the stencils in 3 areas around the page. This creates a visual triangle that draws your eye around all of the page. Now, regardless of whether I'm using one stencil or 2, you'll see the same pattern appear over and over again. Now, this helps to increase the flow or the cohesiveness of the page that you're trying to create. On page 2, I'm sticking with the black ink. This time I'm going to use a laurel leaf stencil from my collection, and if you notice, I'm going to do exactly the same thing again, this time just using a different stencil. I'm going to apply it in 3 areas around the page. And now the third one's complete, I'm going to switch the stencil. This is the typo stencil from Tim Holtz, and again I'm going to apply ink through a stencil in 3 areas. Now there are 2 different rules of thirds or rules of threes. One is for composition and the other is that the human eye is more akin or more in tune in seeing odd numbers than it is in even, which is why you'll see most people use 3 in a triangle or in 3s on a project. For the third page, I'm switching out the black for cobalt blue, which is a dark blue, and I'm going to grab a new stencil. This is the numeric stencil again from Tim Holtz. I've just grabbed it off a pile that I'd already put to one side next to me, and I'm just going to do exactly the same action again. Apply the ink in 3 places around the page. Now, all of the colours that I pre-selected for this exercise are dark colours. This is because if I wanted to add a colour wash of gesso over the top, then these dark colours and the patterns will still show through underneath. So the second stencil I've used on this page is the Art Is stencil from TCW. Please remember though that this is just one of many ways that you can break a blank page. I'm just showing you one way to do it, just using inks and stencils. So on the next page, I'm using the Harlequin stencil from TCW, and I'm still using the cobalt blue ink. And the next stencil I've pulled out the pile is the Dilutions Alphabet Border stencil. So the next page I've switched to the numbered stencil from Tim Holtz. I'm still using the cobalt blue, but I will switch out the colour in a second. So I'm now switching out to the leaf green archival ink from Ranger. I'm just swapping over my ink blending foams. And this next stencil is the Kaleidoscope stencil from TCW. So once this one is done, I'm going to have a quick recap and count the pages that I've done so far. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and that was number 5. So this is going to be page number 6. So back in with the alphabet border stencil, this time obviously using the leaf green ink. So instead of switching out the stencil this time, I'm just going to use the other part of the stencil pattern. So for page number 7, I'm grabbing the microbial stencil again from TCW. And then I'm going to switch out the green for vermilion red, again archival ink from Ranger. And I'm bringing back in the numeric stencil from Tim Holtz and Stampers Anonymous. Like I said earlier, I just grabbed a handful of stencils from my stencil storage folder to use in this project. But if you gave this a little bit more thought before you started, you could theoretically pull out a different stencil for each page, or even 2 different stencils for each page. If you have all those stencils, then why not use them? All you have to do is just pre-prepare and get them ready beforehand. So for the next page, I'm sticking with the vermilion red, and this time we're bringing out the typo stencil from Tim Holtz again. So I'm going to stick with the same stencil but switch back to black. So for the next page I'm bringing back the microbial stencil and I'm using the black. This time I think I've actually mixed and hit the red instead by mistake, so I've now got a little bit of black mixed in with a little bit of red. Whoops! And then I'm going to grab the Art Is stencil from TCW and add some of that red colour through onto the page 2. And because I'm getting old, I couldn't remember how many pages I've done already, so let's have a quick recap as to how many we've done. 1 more to go. So for the final page, I'm going to grab the Harlequin stencil again and using the vermilion red once more. Again, just apply that 3 places around the page. Put your teeth back in, Mike. And then for the last colour, I'm going to use the sepia colour, which is a nice warm reddish brown. I'm going to swap the stencil out for the Kaleidoscope one, which is also a similar diamond pattern. And just to make sure I've done 10 pages, as I said, let's just count them in review. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. I'm bang on time. So there you go. Quick and easy way to break a blank page and do more than one in a hurry if you haven't got a lot of time. And remember, if you found this video useful, please remember to give it a thumbs up, share the video with all your friends, and if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel already, you can do so by clicking the button at the end of this video. That's all from me. I'll see you all again real soon. Bye for now.